The way you portray yourself in life is exactly how people are going to see you. People love putting you in boxes. We need to accept that we're not meant for everybody. Not everybody is going to like us, and not everybody is going to be meant for us. This is a video that I wish my younger self would have watched earlier, because let me tell you, your girl was not very confident as a kid, and so these are the changes I implemented to go from this to this. Tip number 1 is that we need to accept that we're not meant for everybody. Not everybody is going to like us, and not everybody is going to be meant for us. This is the thing, right? The sooner you start getting comfortable with the fact that not everybody is going to like you, the more you'll just feel okay to be your true and authentic self. Because tell me, why would they like you? You, my friend, are in the 1% of the population that has clicked on this video, let's say, and you are really trying to improve yourself. You're trying to build on your self-esteem, you're trying to build on your self-confidence, and overall you're trying to make yourself into the highest version of you, trying to become better as an individual. So if you are in that 1% of the population that is actively trying to improve, why do you think 99% of the population, everybody else, would like you? Think of it that way. Now, I'm not saying that you should be thinking of it like I am better than anybody else. No. But know this, you are not lesser than anybody else. Nobody is better than you, and that is the one mindset shift that you need to you need to overcome in order to at least have the starting point to boost your confidence. When I say no one is better than you, I mean we need to stop putting people on a pedestal. Okay, and what that means is, for instance, someone at your school is getting very popular. Okay, so what? Someone at your school is looking better. Okay, so what? Someone at your school has a lot of money. Okay, so what? The thing is, nobody is better than anybody, right? So if we put a person on a pedestal, if we put certain things, certain people on a pedestal, we are confiding and we are sort of telling our brain, consciously telling our brain that, oh, this person is better than us. And so the thing is, our brain does not know the difference between reality and what is perceived, imagination, right? So when you tell your brain that, okay, this person is better than me, or this person has some better things that I do not have, your brain subconsciously gets rewired. The neurons in your brain, which are responsible for the way that your brain functions, the way that you think, the way that you are as an individual itself, that intrinsically gets rewired. And think about it, if something so innate gets rewired, how difficult is it to get your original thought process back, right? So we need to, as humans and as a generation, stop glorifying other people. So I'm a big believer in the fact that confidence is a choice, right? You choose to be confident. Every day you wake up, you choose to say, yes, I accept myself for who I am, and I'm going to accept what I have as a starting point so I can build on it, right? So for instance, I'm going to accept my physical features. I'm going to accept that I have a particular unique sense of style. I'm going to accept that, I am the way I am. I am, let's say, more nerdy. I am into these things. I like playing these sports. I like doing these hobbies. So you need to accept that you are you as an individual. You have certain things that you like that are unique to you, and you don't need to change them in order to be better, in order to transform, in order to grow up. You do not need to change that very innate and intrinsic part of you in order to become better. The first thing that you need to do for confidence is just accept that you have a baseline to start with, and accept that the baseline, yes, may not be at where you want it to be, but at least you have that starting point set, right? Once you accept that, only then you can move forward and build on yourself. Tip number 2 is knowing the two types of confidence. So there are two types of confidence. There is an internal confidence and an external confidence. I am a big believer in the fact that these two are interconnected. That one of them builds on the other. So the way you portray yourself in life is exactly how people are going to see you. That's just the harsh truth of life. Insecurity, unfortunately, is very easily detectable by the human brain, and so subconsciously, we are wired as humans to judge people. We are wired to be curious about our environment, about other people, and about our surroundings, right? So when we see something that is different, we tend to pick up on it very quickly. It's the same with insecurity, and it's the same with confidence, except one of them has a more positive connotation, right? So insecurity can be very easily detected. It's like it reeks through, and people can sense it, and it changes their behavior towards you, changes their outlook towards you. So what can you do to now change that negative perception into a more positive outlook, right? You focus on what you can actually control. Dressing really well is a really good way that I've personally implemented to boost my confidence and sense of self. It has helped me find my unique sense of style, dressing the way I want to. You don't have any restrictions on what you can and cannot do, right? Especially like other people telling you, oh, you cannot do this certain thing. You need to remove all that noise, right? Because right now when it comes to confidence, your sole focus is you. Yourself is your only priority, okay? So when you take those steps to improve yourself, and when you take those steps to improve your confidence, you need to focus on what you like to wear, what you like to eat, what you like to do as a hobby, and what actually benefits you, what actually makes you happy, not other people. Another thing is it's completely okay to change. It's completely okay to have the desire to change. And if you do want to change yourself, you need to put in the work towards it, right? You need to maybe, if you like doing certain things like wearing makeup, dressing really well, you need to do what actually will bring you that sense of satisfaction and what will make you feel better. That is the first and the only step you actually need to build that external sense of confidence. So now you have that external front that you are happy with, you're content with, and then that inherently in itself will help you build your internal confidence, because it's like you're repeating, it's like spaced repetition. When you think of studying as well, why do you study the same thing over and over again? It's because of the fact that it'll help you remember what it is, right? Your brain subconsciously just starts to remember the information if you keep repeating it multiple times. It's the same way with wearing things that you really like to wear, that builds that external confidence over and over again, such that it gets etched in your mind and really it cannot be erased very easily. Tip number 3 is internal confidence. How do we build internal confidence? So internal confidence is the way that we speak to ourselves. It's not just what we think about ourselves, but it's also the way that we communicate with our own mind, right? So how I want you guys to rewire your mind is use positive affirmations. What are positive affirmations? They are essentially positive things that you say to yourself to make you feel better, right? So there are things that you have to work on, but you change the narrative and you focus on turning it, shifting it into a positive thing. For instance, if there are certain things that you do not like about your physical appearance, you change it and say, okay, I am the only person that I know that has this specific physical appearance, and so I am unique in that manner. I'm not like everybody else, right? So in that way, what you're doing now is rewiring your mind to send those positive neurotransmitter signals between the neurons in your mind. And how this actually works is through signaling and sending of a chemical impulse through these chemicals called neurotransmitters. It releases a chemical called dopamine, which is responsible for motivation and feeling good about yourself, or feeling happy, right? Actually, a study using 40 university students recently found that the results showed greater activity of neural transmission in a particular brain part called the left ventral striatum for the group that did do self-affirmations and taught themselves to think positively and say positive things to their brain, compared to the group that did not do the positive self-affirmation thing and instead talked down to themselves and talked negatively. Now, because dopamine is responsible for motivation, the more dopamine that is released in your brain because of those positive affirmations makes you motivated to do more of those positive affirmations, right? And it becomes easier. The process of giving yourself compliments, for instance, becomes a lot easier because your brain is essentially doing the work on its own. Alright, tip number 4 is creating an alter ego. So once you now have that pairing of external confidence and internal confidence, you know your weaknesses, you can very easily create an alter ego. And now an alter ego is essentially a new version of yourself that aligns better to your true values, your morals, and where you want to go in life. What do you want to see yourself as? That is what an alter ego is. Now, I know that can be very difficult. People love putting you in boxes, and especially if you are in an environment like high school, let's say, or middle school. High school and middle school kids can be really mean, right? And they tend to put people in boxes based off of what you see. But I can tell you this one thing: getting out of that box is very easy. You need to start believing that you can get out of that box. You can break the perception that everyone has of you, right? You don't need to stay in that box forever. Just because someone thinks of you like, oh, she's a nerd, or she is this, she is that. It does not matter what other people think, because you are the only person who has that ability, the power in your hands to change who you are as an individual, right? They can't like come and then do it for you, and they're not going to do it for you. You don't want them to do it, right? So that is the thing. When you realize that you have that power to change everything, to create an alter ego that can completely transform you, that is your baby step. Those baby steps then create actionable steps that you can really take to become that alter ego. So I want you guys to create a list of weaknesses or list of things that you would like to change. For instance, if you are generally very shy and you tend to be on the more quieter side, and you want yourself to become more outspoken, maybe a little bit more extroverted, then take those actionable steps. Maybe take a baby step like doing public speaking in front of your friends and family, maybe giving a speech in front of your loved ones. Then move on to taking a bigger step like giving a speech in front of university people, giving a speech in front of a bigger crowd, things like that. If you're, for instance, lacking self-love, for instance, or you're chasing after people who really do not give a shit about you, you need to make sure that you are taking actionable steps like going on solo days, spending time alone, learning to be independent, loving that idea of just spending time alone and having fun alone, knowing how to enjoy that process, right? So those mini steps can actually make a big difference in one, how you're progressing with your self-confidence and with your self-love. Because what actually happens now in your brain is somewhat similar to that dopamine release. Like when you take those small steps, you're essentially committing to your brain. You're telling your brain that, okay, once I've set out to do this thing, I am going to do it. And you're not disappointing your brain. You're actually doing what you say you're going to do. And so because of that, your brain now is conditioned to thinking, okay, she is keeping her promises, right? And so you automatically have that sense of satisfaction. You do feel better about yourself because you're completing the goals that you once set out to achieve. And lastly, tip number 5 is detachment and getting out of toxic environments. So I know it can be very difficult to get out of a toxic environment, especially if you are confined by it to some extent, but when you can, you need to make sure that you're doing it for you. Think of the younger version of you. Think of yourself as a kid. Do you really think you would want to be in that situation where you're disrespecting yourself, you're disrespecting your younger self? You think your younger self would actually be okay in that situation? No, right? So you need to make sure that you are doing what is good for you. I know it's selfish. A lot of people may say it's selfish. I do not care. But being selfish is the only way you'll find peace. Alright? Being selfish is the only way you'll actually get freedom from those toxic people, from those toxic friends, toxic situationships, whatever it is. You need to do what is the best for you. And second thing is detachment, right? Detachment and this, I feel like, comes in hand. And why that is because a lot of people are going to be triggered by you putting yourself first, okay? And you need to make sure that you're okay with receiving that hatred, and you need to detach from those situations. You need to stop caring about these people who, one, put you in that toxic situation and have made you feel like crap. And on top of that, you're giving heed to these people who do not care about how you're feeling whatsoever, right? So you need to make sure that you are detaching from that situation. A lot of people will have opinions, a lot of people will say the things they want to say, but if you are ultimately doing what is best for you, you should not see any problem with that, okay? So detachment and getting out of toxic environments is the fastest way you can get on that journey to boosting your self-confidence and glowing up and becoming that new person. That is it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, do make sure to like, share and subscribe to Biolog. I really hope you guys have been finding this new series, the biology behind procrastination, motivation, manifestation. All of these video ideas are going to come up a little bit later. So if you guys like this video, please do like, share and subscribe to Biolog. Let me know what other video ideas you'd like to see down below in the comment section. And if you've made it this far, comment down below this emoji. And I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day.